Ma'am and Dr. Sunil, can we start? We can go ahead.
Yes, sure.
Okay. So, good afternoon, the eminent guests today and the attendees. So, we are on the last day of the nationwide celebration with attention to nutrition under the platform of I'm the Best Mom. So, attention to nutrition has been coined to increase the knowledge and focus on the nutrition and our eating habits for the wellness and good health of our children. We have started the session with various topics, and we could cover as of now. And we have spoken about the hyperactivity of the children in its management, how nutrition can play important role doing that. We have discussed about immunity. We have been sharing with you very insightful videos and different recipes. The whole objective is to increase the awareness and enhance the uh, good health of the children with the current time precisely. So today, being on the today's session, we are going to discuss more on nutrition is the new normal. And with us, it's a pleasure and a great honor to have Dr. Midula Phadke and Dr. Sunil Kumar Agarwal, who will be taking us through this session today. Now, when we are talking about nutrition is the new normal, we have accepted that in the current time precisely we are experiencing, we do not want to fall sick. And to do so, we need to have our cells pretty protective. We will go deep into that. So ma'am, it's an honor to have you here. And it's a pleasure on my part to share and present Dr. Midula Phadke, who has been the Vice Chancellor of Maharashtra University of Health Science. She has been the Director of Medical Education Research, Government of Maharashtra, been a Dean to the BJ College in Pune, and the head of the department with many years of experience, with more than 5 decades of rich experience with more than 100, 25, 30 and counting national and international publications on various topics, be it with nutrition, be it with biotechnology. She has been instrumental for many success in the healthcare fraternity. With her contribution, the government of Maharashtra and so many other places are getting the benefit of even the medical colleges which has come up in places like Kolhapur, Latur, Akola. There are so many other places where, and there are many students of yours also listening to you today, ma'am. With this, I would also like to introduce Dr. Sunil Kumar Agarwal, who carries 23 years of clinical experience and 20 years of more academic experience as well. A blend which is definitely always complement. It's not like what you are teaching to the students, you are experiencing in your everyday practice with a clear interest, with a vision, with the children growth and development. Infectious disease. The common topic where both the experts today have worked is HIV and vaccinology. And when we're talking about the children, it is very important not only to keep good health, not only from the body, but from brain as well. So it's a pleasure and great honor to have you, sir. With this current time, COVID, we are locked down, the whole India, all over the world. So today, I would like to request Dr. Sunil Kumar Agarwal to initiate the session. And sir, please.
Okay. Good afternoon. Thank you very much, Diptiman, the main person behind this arrangement, wonderful arrangement. And today we are so lucky that a institute per herself, none other than ex-Vice Chancellor of Maharashtra University, Midula S. Phadke ma'am, and she has a tremendous experience of journey into the nutrition and various infectious disease. And she will be talking good on nutrition, both into the segment of early part of life, early child health, and as well as adult. Now we know that this pandemic has caused crisis all over the world. Now whatever food insecurity is there, that will come to the surface because of this pandemic has taken out near about 8 lakh plus persons. They succumbed due to this pandemic disease. This invisible enemy has caused many new changes into the world. For an example, we doctors, we are more virtual. We doctors, we are adopting telemedicine, and whole of the world has seen the crisis in such a way that economy has gone down near about 10-20 years back. And this food crisis, which was there all over the world, and it varies from place to place, it will be a new normal into the coming or post-COVID era. So what I say, this need of nutrition in a child starts from the day of conception. So that day of conception and first 2 years of life, this is known as window of opportunity. And this window of opportunity is very vital for balanced diet. Now this balanced diet is comprising of, I can say, macronutrients, that is known as proximate principles of food, carbohydrate, protein, fat, micronutrients, those required in the micro quantity, vitamins and minerals, fiber, and last but not the least, adequate amount of water. If suppose somebody has missed this window of opportunity, then they will lead to either acute malnutrition in the form of SAM, or you can see wasting, or you can see there is stunting. These terminologies have came up in a new normal. So now I say that only taking good nutrition will lead to this malnutrition. No, there is another way of overnutrition which is also nomenclature into the segment of malnutrition. Either it is undernutrition or one end it will be overnutrition. Now developed countries, the tsunami of overnutrition is there, and in developing country like India, we are having undernutrition. Next slide please. So now if you say that this, what is the main thing a mother or a parent they have blessed with a child, definitely they want their child will be healthy and hearty and brainy. Now mothers are coming, sir kuch khilaiye, kuch bataiye so that my child will be brainy. So it gives an importance, not the macronutrients but the micronutrients which are known as hidden hunger or hidden malnutrition, that has to be taken care. So in this era, the DHA, the omega-3 fatty acids, the vitamins, the minerals gets added momentum, and a time will come, this will be the one of the best ingredient in the coming days. And the pandemic, this COVID has told, there are three things in the micronutrient segment. I will say vitamin C, I will say vitamin D, then zinc, and these three ingredients has taken into momentum into the segment of prophylaxis as well as into the management of COVID. So next please. So now if I say how we are going to treat this type of cases, few positive ways of encouraging healthy eating habits. This pandemic, our children are staying home, they are not going outside, they are not going to the school, schools are closed, and they are very much fussy eating habits like taking junk foods in the form of kurkure or chips, those who are having saturated fat in good content, but we should be role model. Not like that, we will be eating chips and we are devouring them not to have chips. That is not good. So we should behave in such a way, getting up in the morning, taking the balanced diet, doing some exercise, that will be the norm. Definitely these kids will follow us. So that will be the norm. So rightly Diptiman has told, the topic is so good, that new normal. And next please. So this new normal, this nutrition is a science which deals with the diet and dietary components, and that's why this thing are to be discussed in a new normal way. So now I say, next please, Diptiman. So if I say this new normal is the nutritious way, so there are balanced diet, regular exercise, hydration, good amount of sleep, and emotional stability. But I will end that me taking to the journey of new normal, and I will tell what Madam is going to say. It will be mesmerizing. We will be swimming into the ocean of nutrition, because she is not a nutritionist, She is not only a nutrition scientist, but Madam Mridula is a bhandar of, I can say, Institute of Nutrition. I will conclude with a one line: window of opportunity is very important. We are giving importance to the quantity, but now the quality, the micronutrients has getting its good importance in our day-to-day life. This pandemic of COVID has taught us more important on nutrition. So people are more conscious, parents are more conscious. So my dear viewers, never forget DHA. What is DHA? D for diet. That means good diet, balanced diet, nutritious diet. Then number 2, D, do exercise. So that is about D. H means hydration. You have to keep yourself and your kids well hydrated. DHA, adequate sleep. If suppose somebody is not having adequate sleep and 22 hours or 24 hours doing duty, then definitely burnout syndrome will be there. So with this, I will tell our Prime Minister has told, take nutritious diet so that you will be healthy. And this is the first time. Today is the 7th day and last date of Nutrition Week, but this week 2020 has been declared as World Global Nutrition Week. This is for the first time. So in this Global Nutrition Week, taking the view of taking healthy diet by our PM, and definitely Madam is here. We have to hear much from the Madam. So now it is over to Madam. Madam Mridula Phadke is now taking the platform is yours, and we will be loving a good from this topic. Madam, please.
Ma'am, I think everybody is looking forward to hear from you. Then I will switch on this slide.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Tripathi and Dr. Sunil Agarwala and Ajinkya Dalal. At the very outset, let me thank the organizers for inviting me here for this webinar on the auspicious week of the Nutrition Week, when we are riddled with so many worries of COVID that I think there cannot be any other befitting time for us than to have this webinar. And I'm aware of the fact that this webinar is not only for doctors and pediatricians, but it is mainly for the mothers. And indeed, I am the best mom is the theme. So Nutrition Week and best mom combined together, what more are we going to think about? Well, COVID has created so much of havoc in India and all over the world. Dr. Sunil Ji just mentioned how it has impacted, the lockdown has impacted, the supply chain has got disturbed, there is no food, the people have lost their jobs and whatnot. Now to cap it all, during COVID crisis, I'm sure all of you know it, 21 million women have become pregnant, and out of these 4 are actors. You know those actors, but 21 women have become pregnant, they are going to deliver their babies. 24 births are going to occur in the next 8 or 9 months, and therefore we have to look after all these children, and that's why is the importance of nutrition, and we are going to talk about it so that we tackle both the nutrition problem as well as the COVID problem. Can I have the slide, please?
Sure, ma'am. So before we get into your slide, there is a simple question to all the attendees. So I'm going to put that here.
Sure.
So the question is, do you feel the pandemic has raised the importance of right nutrition? I would request all the attendees to participate and answer this question. So another 10 seconds we can take. So 94% says yes, the pandemic has raised the importance of right nutrition, and still a less number believe it is not. Now, ma'am, the reason of asking this question probably this speaks the importance of nutrition today in this difficult time. So,
But Hiji, you are rightly going to convince the remaining 7% to also think that nutrition is important.
right, ma'am, we are going to play this short video.
Sure.
Yes, ma'am.
So what a good beginning. If we change the beginning of the story, we change the whole story, said one of the greatest scientists. And here we are today to talk a little bit on early childhood development, wherein we want that the beginning of the story, not only the nutrition story, but the story of life of a child over generations to come. We are aware of the fact that these are various important aspects in the life of a child, wherein you have to know about early childhood development. This is totally a new concept and does not involve just motor and mental development of the child, but we go a little deep into it as to what is happening to the brain and what is important and the role of nutrition. Now you saw the video. The video was an artistic video, and now I'm going to tell you the science behind the video. So there are 3 phases in the development of the brain of the child. So from conception to birth, birth to 3 years of age, and then preschool period and later on. And we are aware of the fact that brain growth is maximum in the first 2 years of life. So whatever brain we are going to develop is in the first 2 years. 80% of the brain growth is done in the first 2 years, when the physical growth is even less than 50%. So imagine, everyone thinks that my child should be Einstein, my child should be Sachin Tendulkar, with the highest regard to all these scientists and cricketers, and my child should be Lata Mangeshkar. Now, how is that going to happen? There are 2 important components in it, and we are going to deal with the component of nutrition. We are aware of the fact that in India, 43% of the world population is stunted. They live in poverty. We know that many of them, 19% of them are wasted, and so many of them are underweight. This is more so in sub-Saharan Africa, Asia. We are living in a scenario wherein we have intergenerational cycle, not only of poverty, but also of malnutrition. And so a malnourished mother, a mother whose BMI is even less than 18, and she delivers a child who is a low birth weight child, the child, when the child grows up, it becomes a low birth weight child who has become a low weight adolescent, an adolescent with a low BMI, an adolescent with anemia, and she delivers a child, and the child is born further in low in weight. And in such children, the cognitive, mental, and physical abilities are much less. So what do we really know when we talk of this intergenerational cycle of nutrition and malnutrition? We know that it is perpetuated over 1, 2, 3, 4 and generations to come. And with COVID occurring and 21 million mothers who are going to deliver, imagine how much of stress the country is going to go through. So we have to know little more about it, and the new concept of ECD, or early childhood development. Growth, we know, is increase in physical size, and development is maturation of function. But the 6 components of early childhood development we need to know, and these are the domains of nurturing care. So in short, early childhood development means good nurturing care to the child given by the parents. And here I lay, and caregivers, all the family members, but I lay stress on both the mother and the father. And what are the main 5 components of nurturing care? The first component is health of the child. So as we are in COVID lockdown, please try and see, am I looking after the health of the child better? Is my child immunized fully? Or because of the lockdown, I am scared to go to the doctor. So have I not immunized my child the correct way? So the health of the child. Second one is the nutrition of the child. The third one is responsive caregiving. And there I should say, the first slide that you saw, a baby looking at the television and the mother feeding it. Instead of that, a responsive caregiving means that the baby is being fed by the mother, not only the food, but also the mother is talking to the baby. The mother is singing to the baby. In olden times, mother did that. And why did mothers do it? Because there were no televisions. So mother had to chit chat with the baby while feeding. And that is responsive caregiving. The child responds when you give, when you deliver something. And then, of course, the last part of the nurturing care is to avoid violence and to see that the child is given best domestic kind of an environment as well as environment outside. Do you know that every day 100 cases of domestic violence are reported by some NGOs during the COVID lockdown period? So the 5 components of nurturing care that I tell you are health, nutrition, responsive caregiving, security and safety of the child, and early learning. So what do we know about early learning? Can I have the next slide, please? Early learning, we have to see cognitive, motor, and social development of the child. And there we have what is called as 3 windows of opportunity. What are the opportunities in front of us? The first one is an adolescent girl. Now, many of you might think that in your own houses or in the house of your maid servant, you will see that there are lots of adolescent girls. And what is the normal scenario in the house? That all the males in the house have eaten, in the maid servant's house maybe, and after all the males of the house have eaten, then will the adolescent girl, and last will be the mother who has cooked for the children. So an adolescent girl suffers in all ways, because if there is half a kilo of vegetable prepared, then what she is going to eat is the leftover. So maybe my first advice to the parents is that first see that all children and parents and grandparents, whosoever in the house, should all eat together and look after the adolescent girl, look after her nutrition, and look after her total physical and mental development. These days there are lots of fads. Adolescent girls look at the 0 figure and they say that I don't want to eat. And their BMI, you will realize the body mass index is less than 18. Normally we want it between 18.5 and 25, so that neither is the girl obese nor is the girl underweight. So such an underweight, anemic girl, thinking that she's going to look very beautiful. And we also have some funny concepts in our mind that if the girl is fat, to abhi iski shaadi kabhi hogi, as though that's one of the aims in life, but maybe one should look at. So the first window of opportunity is the adolescence period, and adolescent girl is important. Adolescent boys are also important. Please look at that the child, the adolescent girl, is immunized with MR, the measles, rubella, and last year we had a nationwide campaign on rubella and MR campaign, the measles, rubella campaign, and see that, so that the baby that is going to be born to such a mother will not get a disease called as German measles complications. The second period is conception. That means when you are going to conceive. Now imagine a mother has, or a woman or a girl has just got married and has come to her in-laws place and she's going to conceive. Now that's the period, again she's in a different environment. She doesn't know when to eat. People probably don't look at her. She might have gone for her honeymoon. when she is going to sustain herself only on idli dosas. Now that's the period when conception is going to occur, and nobody is looking at that mother. One advice here is that if you don't give folic acid during the periconceptional period, folic acid abundant in green vegetables, but you have also to supplement it by medicine, so the folic acid tablet. Otherwise, the child is going to get a disease, what we call as neural tube defects, when the brain doesn't develop, or the child has a big swelling at the back, and the child may even have paralysis of the limbs. So the second window of opportunity for us is to look after the mother during conception. And the third window is 1000 days. That means from conception to 2 years. So after the mother has conceived, so much of attention is to be given. So 270 days of pregnancy, that is 9 months of pregnancy, plus 365 days of first year, 365 days of second year. So this is the most important window of opportunity, 1000 days in the life of every child. Do we ever look at it from that angle? No, because mothers don't even realize that they have conceived. Now, so many mothers in India, we know that they come at 6 and 7 months of pregnancy to register, and many of them maybe they have not looked at their diet. So I think in order to have a good cognitively first class baby, it is important to concentrate adolescent girl at the time of conception, and the third most important window is 1000 days of your life. 1000 days of life is putting something in the bank. It's like your fixed deposit, or it is like your PPF. You put that PPF and it matures at 20 years and you're going to get a sum of 20 lakhs of rupees. So that's the importance of 1000 days. Now, during these 1000 days, for the doctors in this audience, the genetic blueprint is determined at the fertilization time. After that, it is an influence of nurture and experience. So both the environment and the genetic blueprint. We know that DNA methylation occurs at this time, and an interaction between genes and environment. The epigenetic factors and DNA methylation is important, and all this is essential for birth and development of a good, healthy, metabolically and physiologically normal child. We know the role of DNA methylation. Now there is a role of paternal DNA methylation also. So both maternal DNA methylation and paternal DNA methylation is important. And we know that during these 1000 days, this is going to happen in the antenatal period at the time of conception. Can I have the next slide, please? The next slide, please. Now, in early childhood development, we know that what happens once the conception has occurred and you have got the DNA from both the parents, and at 22 days of conception, that means when you are just about 1 month pregnant, the whole nerve plate, the neural tube is being formed. And that is the time, if you don't have adequate green vegetables and you don't have folic acid in the diet, the baby can be born with a small head, or the baby can be born with a large head. The baby can have a swelling in the back, and we call it neural tube defects, that is brain and the spinal cord defects. 3 important things to be remembered here: take good folic acid, good amount of copper, vitamin A and B12. All these are available from vegetables and nuts. So we have to take it in full good amount in a mother who has just conceived. At 42 days, the nerve cells start dividing and neurons and glial cells are formed. And can you believe that neurons grow at the rate of 250,000 new neuronal cells every minute? We can't even count. So that's how our brain is growing. And 100 billion brain cells are formed at birth, like the stars in the sky. And the next slide, please. So if it is going to occur at this speed, then what happens to the neuron? The brain will be saturated with it. So that time, the neurons start migrating in various parts of the brain, and the neurons start developing what are called as threads. These are called as axons and dendroids. And these threads are critically important. They are called as the dendrites. The longer the threads and the more the threads, the better are the connections in the neurons. And if connections in the neurons are good, our memory is strong. And this is what is called as synaptic connections in the brain. which happens between 8 weeks and continues throughout infancy. So this is an important element. Can I have the next slide, please? And then synaptic pruning occurs. That means whatever the synapses which are not required, all the excessive synapses are eliminated. And throughout the child, synapses are overproduced and eliminated, overproduced and eliminated. And the experience and the environment of the child decides which synapses are going to be produced better. And this is important, critically important for nurturing and brain plasticity. So if the child is exposed to TV and some very criminal material going on his eyes every now and then, thank heavens the PUBG game is eliminated. But if that falls on the experience of the child, then imagine what is the environment that the child is having. He's only seeing something criminal, in which case the synapses that are going to develop are different, and we don't want them to develop. The next slide, please. And so, human studies have shown that if you don't take adequate nutrients, then this part of the brain development is going to suffer. And what is going to suffer, we just now said, neuronal proliferation is suffering, axonal differentiation is suffering, migration, synaptic forming, synaptic pruning, and most important is myelination. Now what is myelination? Every nerve cell is covered by a fat coating, and this is very, very important. Now we all nowadays think we don't have to eat fat. Now if you don't eat fat, the nerve cell is not going to have myelination. And if it doesn't have the coating, you know, it's like the electrical wire with a plastic coating on it. If there's no plastic coating, then the nerve cells are not going to function. And therefore that is the most critical thing. Friends, remember today, fats are as important in the diet. So we have to not restrict fats first 4 years of life or first 3 years of life. And that is important for myelination. And then of course, programmed cell death. Can I have the next slide, please? The next slide, please. Yeah. So now we have to see if the child doesn't have adequate nutrition and malnutrition has set in. We call it, Dr. Sunil ji already told you what SAM is, severe acute malnutrition. Second one is iron deficiency. And third one is fatty acid deficiency. If we have any of these three, then one can realize that neuronal proliferation, axonal growth, dendritic growth, synaptic pruning, all that has suffered. And the most important here we can see, only one thing that I want you to see is, if the patient doesn't have, or if the child doesn't have iron, there is no good proliferation in the hippocampus. That is the part of the brain wherein the seat of memory lies. So if your daughter is iron deficient, she's not going to remember in school, she's not going to learn and go ahead. Or your son is iron deficient, the same thing is going to happen. So if you want children to have good memory, you have to see that they get good iron. If you want your child to have good neuronal proliferation, you have to give him adequate fatty acids. And of course, good nutrition, proteins, fats, carbohydrates, in order to prevent severe acute malnutrition, along with micronutrients and vitamins and minerals. So the next slide. This is a continuation and then myelination. I want to tell you, many of you may not have been born, but a famous film star, Audrey Hepburn, she was born when her mother faced the Dutch famine, and it was like an epidemic there. And so mother got malnourished. So when Audrey Hepburn was born, she was low birth weight. And in India, every day we have 20% of our population who is low in weight. And then the myelination is defective, and the IGF-1 is defective, and the neuronal function has gone. And all this results into not only bad cognitive function, but also can result in depression and mental illnesses. So we have to remember that such is the importance of giving all the nutrients that we have mentioned. And which are the nutrients? Let's see zinc. Zinc is taken by us to prevent COVID, but zinc also does lots of things. It does look at the hippocampus. It looks at the IGF-1 and the synaptic density. So if you don't take zinc in the diet in the form of nuts, then you are not going to remember anything. So the memory is gone. So in the school, instead of giving chips and pasta and pizza, better that the child is given groundnuts and some other nuts and which will give him adequate zinc. Choline, good for neurotransmission. Vitamin B complex, folic acid is preventing neural tube defects. The next slide, please. And then, of course, we know each of the elements in the diet that are required for certain parts of the brain. So you don't have adequate protein, you don't have good amount of fish, you don't have eggs, you don't have dairy, you don't have milk. The Groban brain development has gone. So globally, the whole brain is not going to develop. You don't have good fats, the neuronal connectivity is gone. I talked to you about the synapses, and these synapses are not well formed. So you can't remember anything. No good zinc, no memory, no good iron, no memory, and iron also is required for energy. So iron lack, anemia is going to produce memory loss, IQ loss, and energy loss. Iodine is required for connectivity of neurons. And we know that if you don't take iodized salt, the child may get iodine deficiency. And we know that things like hypothyroidism can occur. And folic acid, which we have already said, is going to prevent neural tube defects. Could I have the next slide, please? There are two types of process in the brain: sensory input and experimental studies have shown that lot of changes can occur if there are no good sensory inputs and the visual cortex doesn't develop, and the experience dependent inputs are what is the environment of the child. So both are required, innate experiences and acquired experiences, and therefore sensory inputs are very important for the brain. If nutrition depletion occurs, there are three effects that occur: additive, alternating, and non-substituting. And these effects are very complicated, but each of the elements in the brain responds in a different way, and therefore good nutrition is essential. The next slide, please. So timing of deficiency, we are on first 1000 days still, and in the conceptual period 22 days, we have said occurrence of neural tube defects. 26 weeks to the first year is the adequate myelination of the nerve cells and nerves of the baby. And herein lies the importance of omega-3 fatty acids. This is something which we just don't know about. And now lot of work has been going on this, what is called as the DHA, docosahexaenoic acid. This acid is good in mother's milk. There lies the importance of breastfeeding. But if you give other milks to the baby, then well, maybe the baby is going to be deficient in DHA, and such a baby is not going to be mentally sound. Such a baby could be having loss of memory. Such a baby could not be intelligent. Therefore, they say, "Maa ka doodh piya hai kya?" Then only you become intelligent and strong. That's all related to the DHA, the docosahexaenoic acid, the omega-3 fatty acid. For the doctor colleagues in the audience, I might tell you that the ratio of the omega-3 to omega-6 fatty acids, that's important. How much should it be? Normally, omega-6 should be 2 to 4 times that of omega-3. So omega-3 is in one amount, the omega-6 should be around 2 or maybe 4 times that of omega-3. This is the normal ratio. Now you may remember that homemade ghar ka ghee has the ideal omega-3 is to omega-6 ratio. So it has lots of omega-3, and therefore we say that is important for the cognitive development of the baby. So if you're making dal and chawal to the baby and giving 1 teaspoon of homemade ghee and not hydrogenated vanaspati ghee, the child's brain growth is going to be good because he will get good amount of DHA, the docosahexaenoic acid, the omega-3 fatty acids. These are called as essential fatty acids because you cannot make them. You have to take them from outside, and therefore this supplementation has to be remembered. And you can also remember if the child on some other milk, maybe cow's milk or maybe buffalo's milk or maybe powdered milk, then the baby is not going to get adequate DHA, and you have to think that you have to supplement it from outside, and therefore the myelination of the nerves is a critical factor in the development of the baby. And then we also know when you become adults and when you're going to get probably a coronary artery disease or you're going to be obese, then your nerve cells are and your heart is not going to function properly if you don't have adequate ratio of omega-3 to omega-6, and therefore in adulthood it is important to keep the same ratio. Now each degree of deficiency is going to produce defects in the brain of the child and obviously resulting into memory loss, iodine deficiency in the mother, and we find that the baby is going to have iodine deficiency and hypothyroidism. And for each nutrition, there is a threshold. And if that threshold is reached, below that, you will find that the changes will be irreversible. And therefore, in many cases, the damage done is irreversible. So if you don't treat thyroid deficiency early in life, the child will be mentally retarded forever. But particularly for iron, it is reversible. And if you correct anemia, the baby's growth and brain development is going to be good. The next slide, please. Now we will skip over this slide because this is meant for pediatricians, and that is what are the special problems of special children who have inborn errors of metabolism, who are mentally subnormal children who have either phenylketonuria or tyrosinemia or maple syrup urine disease or a urea cycle disorder or a homocystinemia. All these are complicated medical conditions. But if a child has mental and motor developmental delay, any of these will be looked after by a pediatrician, and accordingly he will give you the correct diet, and that particular diet will be required for that particular disease. Can I have the next slide, please? Now this is an important slide for a normal mother, and that is how much of carbohydrates should be there in the plate. And there I'll give you a small example. First you will say eat 4 food groups in a day, 4 colors, and 4 times a day, in addition to breast milk in the first 6 months of life, exclusive breastfeeding for the first 6 months. So what do we mean by 4 food groups? Carbohydrates, fats, proteins, micronutrients, and vitamins. So in your plate, there should be carbohydrates nearly 50%, 45 to 65%. If you're a little on the obese side, maybe you can cut on it. Fats, 20 to 25, 30%. Children need more fats in the diet. We have to remember 25 to 40 in the first 2 years of life, and 10 to 20% of proteins are what are required. Now this is the daily requirement. So 4 food groups. Can I have the first earlier slide, please? 4 food groups, 4 times a day, 4 colors. Green vegetables, white, yellow, papaya, fruits, oranges, lemons are all required, and that gives you adequate micronutrients. How much of sugar should be there in the diet? Normally it should be 10% of the total energy. So 9 teaspoons of sugars for men and 6 teaspoons for females. Can you just excuse me? Sorry about that. Sorry about it. I'm sorry I didn't take water along with me. So good amount of water is also required. And 9 teaspoons of sugar for men, 6 teaspoons of sugar for females, and good amount of essential fatty acids, linolenic acid, linoic acid, and good amount of DHA and EPA. These are all essential fatty acids and must be given. They are required for the good brain growth. Now next slide, please. So what do I conclude, friends? I think we have in the last 20 minutes, we have known what is the importance of early childhood development. And we know that nutrition is the key to it. We also know that nutrition is the key also to prevent COVID. Good diet is going to build your immunity, and we are going to be, so is the importance of diet. So all my 7% parents who thought that nutrition is not important in COVID times, remember that if you want good immunity, you have to have a good diet, a balanced diet, 4 food groups, 4 colors, 4 times a day. we have 3 windows of opportunity from birth, conception to 1000 days. And we also have 5 components or 5 domains of early childhood development, wherein nutrition and nurturing go together. So you give response to the child and the child responds to you. And if you don't give adequate diet, deficiencies are going to occur. And such a child, maybe the damage is not reversible always. And good stimulation by both parents is the key to success and key to brain development. Can I have the next slide, please? So we have concluded. And friends, I will only tell you that if you are going to be the best mom, you are the best mom indeed, and follow these guidelines. You will give adequate diet to the child. Home food is the best. And when you give, I might only add one line to conclude. If a child has to have pasta or pizza or chips, you may restrict them to once a week, and rest of the times have a multicolored food plate that would do good to the child. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I would request the attendees, they can put up their question in the QA section. And I believe Dr. Sunil Agarwal has already given some of the answer by the text way. So, yeah, so that's good. Nice, sir.
Yeah.
I must confess that whatever the few time, 20 minutes odd, Madam Mridula has given, it was fabulous, it was mind-blowing, and it was message-giving talk to the parents and as well as we the doctors. Being a pediatrician, I came to know how important is first 1000 days. Madam, in Barampur, in Odisha, our medical college is the nodal center for nutrition. What we did, we are giving a nutrition curriculum, 7 days training course for all the doctors taking 3 fraternities, one from Pedia, another from Gynec, and another from PSM. And all the faculties in Odisha, belonging to government and non-government medical colleges, have been trained in nutrition for 7 days. And they have been given a certificate course on free of government or free of cost, and the budget has been provided from our state government Odisha. That we have trained near about, near about 500 odd faculties. They have been trained in our place, and I am a faculty into that. And we have came out with a module that how we are going to impact training to the MBBS student, because most of the neglected domain in the MBBS curriculum is nutrition. Because many times we are asking MCQ like what is DHA, what is vitamin A, what is fat soluble vitamin, but we have not given importance of maternal nutrition. We have not given importance of the first 2 years nutrition, how important is breastfeeding, what is important of cognition. That domain has been emphasized by these 3 domain, OG and PSM and Pedia faculties. That we have done, and we have completed before COVID that all the faculties as of now, they have been trained in nutrition. Yes, it is a thing we have done in our state, and this same thing we have borrowed from Maharashtra, and probably Maharashtra is in continuation, but we have completed now.
Yeah, the UNICEF, the Maharashtra team of UNICEF initiated it.
Right, ma'am, right. And 1 or 2 lines, madam, always we believe this folic acid is very, very important. Even if, suppose, being a pediatrician, if first baby is born as a neural tube defect, first baby, and that has nobody knows. By the time the lady pregnant and she has been coming in the first contact with the gynecologist at the age of 3 months, and by that time neural plate has already developed, and she has been prescribed folic acid as a routine. And nowadays throughout pregnancy, and along with iron, because iron and folic acid, folic for adult, that has been given below 10 gram hemoglobin twice a day, and more than 10 gram hemoglobin once a day, 100 tablets. That is the routine by the government of India, and we are following that. But my question is that if the first issue is a neural tube defect, then we are giving from that day onwards, because we never know when she will be pregnant. Throughout the pregnancy, that has to continue. But my question is, ma'am, how we are preventing first case, means first born as a neural tube defect? Is it that a lady in the conceptual age, after marriage, she will be given folic acid?
I think you have got such an important question. We are trying to tell parents now that you are giving so many gold malas to the child when the girl gets married. We are advocating that give 2 folic acid malas. That means tablets of folic acid in the form of a mala to be given till the woman conceives. So in marriage, instead of giving Dahej with hundreds of tolas of gold, it will be important to give folic acid mala. And the point that you raise, that first child has neural tube defect, in order to prevent the first child only, you're going to give folic acid tablet to the mother, as has been advised, right, even before she conceives. So conception is not always planned, and therefore you have to give it. And we have also to remember, for pediatricians in this audience, many times folic acid deficiency is aggravated if you don't give adequate B12 also, and both have an interchangeable effect. So I would like to give B12 as well as folic acid. And there's a study by Pune group by Dr. Yadnik, which says that for our Indian mothers, folic acid and B12 are equally important to prevent neural tube defect. So B12 and folic acid give together. And if with all this also it doesn't happen, probably it is an autosomal recessive trait and the child is born as a neural tube defect, a genetic defect.
Yes, you are true, ma'am. You are true. Now you have told after pregnancy, each girl should be started with folic acid from इस घर से उस घर में जाने के बाद उसको फॉलिक एसिड लेना चाहिए till the completion of pregnancy.
शादी में सोना नहीं दिया तो भी folic acid देना है.
It's really a wonderful message, ma'am, and this has to be practiced. Because we doctors, we know many things, but on ground reality, it is not being practiced. Because we are getting a lot of at least 1 or 2 cases of neural tube defect, and we can't do anything because of paralysis. Nothing can be done, and it's such a horrible, and we are just waiting for the death. Nothing can be done at that juncture of time.
It is so preventable. Just good nutrition.
And second, before going to the whatever the question has been read by Diptiman, I will share my one experience. Last 6 months back, I got a 10-month baby. 10-month baby admitted with encephalopathy. I mean, the baby was irritable. The baby was 8-month baby having 7 kilo weight, and 8-month baby born with around 2.6 kilo, no low birth weight. Mother is very good and taking utmost care, and the baby came. So when the baby came, we thought it is an infective etiology. I thought it could be cerebral malaria or meningoencephalitis or meningitis. So we have investigated thoroughly. Then LP came out to be normal, and thereafter neuroimaging, MRI and everything came out to be normal. Then when I saw the CBC, I mean complete blood count, I got the hemoglobin is around 8 and the MCV is 120. That means it is macrocytic. At that point of time, I just twisted my head. Am I not dealing with a megaloblastic? Then I have referred and did the folic acid and vitamin B12. Folic acid came to be normal, but B12 is deficient. Then I went retrospectively what the nutrition of that lady. She was a complete vegan. She belongs to a family tribal, complete vegetarian, and she used to take only. But we did the B12 level of the mother. They are never touched non-veg diet. So B12 of the mother was low, baby was low, and it was a case of B12 encephalopathy. We started 1 milligram monthly, weekly for 2 months. The baby remarkably improved. So it was and we have published that case, madam. It is the B12 encephalopathy from B12 deficient mother and a baby, and it has been cured, and we have cured that. And
you are so right. You are so right, Dr. Sunil. I must say that there are some tribes wherein children are fed goat's milk, and goat's milk is very deficient in vitamin B12, and then such kind of diseases can be seen. You are very right.
And one line, Dr. Sunil and Dr. Ashwini Gadbole, they have told that
I
great
read it. I read it. Sunil,
great
I am
experience.
remembering you and I am remembering Dr. Ashwini and I am remembering our good old days when you were an undergraduate and a postgraduate student.
Right, right,
Madam,
ma'am.
I got a question for you, and I know that's the answer I learned from many days to you. What about those small, especially preterm and low birth weight babies and their development? And I wanted to have your
Nutrition for those babies.
I think nutrition for those babies is a very difficult thing. I would strongly advocate that all preterm babies should be positively promoted to have breast milk, nothing else but breast milk, and that will give them adequate DHA, that will make their brain development strong. But if the mother for any reason is not having adequate milk, then the baby should be supplemented from outside, and there are various products which are available now which can be given. I think adequate brain growth is related to all the nutritious factors that we have said so. And of course, the cerebral trauma that has occurred when a baby was born preterm also is responsible for the mental development later on. So that we always see it. There
Thank
are
you.
experiments on coconut oil, there are experiments on oils. You can, literature abounds in it and you can talk about it.
Yes.
Thank you, madam. Yeah, thank you.
So, ma'am, there is a question for you, and this is I have hypothyroidism, which started during pregnancy. What dietary rules should I follow for my 4-year-old son so that thyroid disorders can be prevented?
Give him iodized salt. I don't have any shares in Tata, but Tata's iodized salt is the best salt that you can give to the baby, and I think the child will do well. If it is not so and the child still develops hypothyroidism, and also give good iodine containing diet. So you can give fish, which is very rich in iodine, you can give nuts, and so rich, iodine rich foods. You should also remember that the child should not be living, or you as far as possible, on hilltops, because on hilltops you can get iodine deficiency. And if by any bad luck and not good iodine, the child develops hypothyroidism, we have good thyroxine tablets. So diagnosis must be done early, and good amount of thyroxine tablets should be given to the child, finding out what the hypothyroidism cause is.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. So there is one more question where the child is experiencing muscle cramp at the night time while sleeping and numbness in the hands and legs. So any nutrition should be recommended? Any?
I think there are a large number of reasons for muscle cramps. Just from too much of exercise. If today you have done an exercise and you're used to 20 minutes of exercise, and tomorrow you do it for 1 hour, you're going to get muscle cramps. They are because of accumulation of lactic acid. A good rest and it goes. But growing children many times have these muscle cramps. Variety of reasons for it. The commonest thing people do is to give vitamin B and vitamin C. But I think you have to investigate the child. If it is just a part of growing, some people say they are bone pains which the child is getting. But I would always think that we have to rule out what the deficiency is, and a generalized covering of total micronutrients should be all right. In adults, if they get that, I would think that the major reason is hyponatremia, lack of sodium, and patients who are on antihypertensives will get that if they don't have adequate sodium in the diet. A small child could also be dehydrated, and such a child can get cramps. So there are a number of reasons and they should be looked into.
Yes, ma'am. Because pediatrician, I used to get a lot of cases coming to us and they are not having any disease. We put them as benign nocturnal pain of childhood.
Quite right.
It is, we used to say it starts by 4 years, it goes by 10 years, it is benign, nocturnally it will happen, and it is bilaterally symmetrical, sometimes left, sometimes right, sometimes both, and nothing, only counseling. Because we have to write something, and all the pediatricians across the country wish to write vitamin D or you say vitamin D plus calcium supplement, you give or don't give. But if you are giving, it will be treated as a better placebo by the parent. They are happy. We have gone to Dr. Sunil and taken
In a
giving
younger
fees.
child, I think Dr. Agarwala, I fully agree with you. And in a younger child, we would think of hypocalcemia and
Yes.
treat the vitamin D deficiency. But I
Right.
fully agree that these pains are benign, and so
Benign.
they are called as growing pains.
Growing pain. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Noted.
So, ma'am, one more question. What are the food habits should be for a adolescent girl having PCOD?
Oh, she must first check her weight. If she's a little overweight, then good exercise is the most important thing. And in the diet, she must have lots of fluids, green vegetables, and a diet which is little controlled in matters of starchy and fatty foods. So I think a child of PCOD needs to have lots of fresh foods and fresh fruits and vegetables in the diet. Besides that, I think the treatment would be mainly through a gynecologist for
Yes.
PCOD when she will be controlled with hormonal or other
Hormonal.
treatment as
Yes.
required.
Yes, ma'am.
So, ma'am, I think we could answer all the questions as of now,
Yes.
and we have also taken some of the questions from the social media, and thank you so much even having Dr. Ashwini and Sunil Godbole out here. So it's a pleasure to have you, sir, as well.
Yes,
So,
it's a mind-blowing session. It's a mind-blowing session. I became a student in this platform by mesmerizing talk by the madam.
It's really a mesmerizing. It's a pleasure for us to listen
I
to.
don't deserve all the kind words that you said. I'm very thankful. I'm very thankful to you. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, all the parents.
Thank you so much, ma'am. And today we are concluding the session of attention to nutrition. But as Dr. Sunil says, the country or the whole world should be observing, as the ma'am says, there are so many good way to correlate, like be it a mala or something to present, but the nutrition, the protection from all those easily which we can avoid, like having a folic acid, or which are not so expensive. Still, it has got tremendous role while the child is growing up, or maybe at the right time during the even before pregnancy, even after the child birth. So we can take care so nicely with small addition of this micronutrients. We could learn a lot of things today, ma'am, from you, and with Dr. Sunil Agarwal from you as well. So I'm very thankful to all the attendees today. I mean, a lot of doctors, nutritionists, parents are out here, and we are extremely grateful to you. It's a great pleasure to have you over the last so many days of webinars, videos, which we are posting. The whole idea is to have a very holistic effort towards building the children future very strong. At least we wanted them to be healthy, and nutrition plays a very important role in their life. So it's not only having the child physically well, the mental health is very important. So we focus on children good health with the brain health as well. The mental health should be also very active, and of course wellness, the physical activity, it is equally very important. So I would request all the attendees, we are having a Facebook group, I'm the Best Mom. So please do register. The chat box is having the link to join there. And we, on a judicious effort, we have been teaching, we are doing yoga for the children on every day 5 p.m. And for the prenatal mothers, like we are having a yoga session for them also on a regular basis. We are having a lot of activity which is designed for children, good health, well-being, and for their mental health enhancement, for the cognitive enhancement. So we will continue doing our best. And with this platform, we will invite doctors from their specialty to come and address, and maybe that is definitely going to add a lot of value for yourself and the future generation. And it is wonderful once again, ma'am, having you. It's a great honor to have you. And I'm thankful from my team as well to you. And Dr. Sunil Agarwal, thank you so much once again,
Yes,
sir.
yes.
you.
Thanks, madam.
My pleasure. And thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes, ma'am. So nice. Thanks a lot and stay safe.
Thank you very
Thank you,
much.
ma'am.
Thank you, Diptiman and your team. Wonderful job done. It's my code of art. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.